We do not have that posture with our leaders. We allow them to lie and to penalize us for lying. And that's really the basis of a lot of the unfairness and corruption that we endure and that has sapped the faith of most people in their government and even in their nation. The permission of lying. Again, it's realistic to accept that people do lie. When pressed, they tend to lie. That will never change. But our acceptance of it is what has to change. And it can. And the main place in a relationship with the federal and state government that can change is on classification. So what is classification? Classification is the lie that the majority of the big things government is doing are too important to tell you about. You're not allowed to know because if you knew, somehow we would all be less safe. Well, that's a lie. And of course, the main reason that over 1 billion federal documents are classified is in order to give the people running the government the ability to do whatever they want, including enrich themselves, steal, defraud your money, and strip you of the right to do anything about it because you don't know what's happening. So, this is noted by all normal people at all times, evil thrives in darkness, and sunlight famously is what? The best disinfectant. But there's no effort to disinfect our rulers. And instead, they have constructed a, not overstatement to say, a Byzantine system of classification rules with one goal in mind. Not to keep us safe, or to end the Iranian nuclear program, or to fight Hamas, but to allow them to behave with shameless corruption under double standards that secrecy affords them. That is the truth. And that's why 63 years after our president was murdered in Dallas, we can't know all the available facts about that murder. Now, on what grounds can we not know those facts? National security, sources and methods. The whole thing is a lie, and it doesn't get better until people stop lying, and the only way they stop lying is by revealing to us the truth. And this may be a kind of trap that the rest of us fall into. So something will happen, like history-changing event like 9/11. And parts of it will seem self-evidently obvious, like what happened, planes flew into buildings, but some of it, like Building 7, which collapsed for still no explicable reason, are totally confusing. 25 years later, like what was that? And so people ask those questions because why wouldn't they? Anyone who's awake looks at that and says, that's weird. And then that person is screamed at as a conspiracy theorist, a wacko, you're an anti-Semite, you must be a Nazi if you have questions about Building 7. Okay, well, there's a very fast way to settle that debate, and it's by declassifying the documents that might shed light, factual light, on what actually happened. But that never enters the mind of either side. The people asking questions, slandered as conspiracy theorists, just grumble to themselves, and the people who are continuing to hide the truth, assuming there's a different truth, just sort of keep on doing it. And so if you want to restore honesty, and you really have to, because a lot of the things we're seeing now could not happen in an honest system, certainly corruption couldn't happen, the first thing you have to do is demand ownership of something you already own constitutionally, which is the government's work product. The people hiding these things have no legal right to hide them other than rights they invented, but they're fake. They're not fundamentally true. How do you, as a federal bureaucrat, have a right to lie to me? On what grounds are you doing that? No one ever asked them, so they continue to do it. And not just that. All the corruption that we see and the frustration that you feel seeing it stems from that. What they do is hidden under the pretext of national security, national security. But ask anyone who's lived in Washington or worked in government, it's all a lie. There's probably some tiny percentage of government activities, conceivably, that need to be hidden from public view because there are sources and methods, there's an operation in progress. Okay, fair. But that's like 100th of 1% of what the government does and has done for the last 100 years. That's still classified. End it. You could end it tomorrow. But they won't. But we should demand they do. The next thing you'd like America to be, we should demand that America is optimistic. Now, why optimistic? People misunderstand the term. Optimism is not simply the product of an act of will. I'm choosing to be optimistic today. I'm going to be in a sunny mood regardless. I'm choosing to be happy. You can do that, and you should do that if you can. But optimism is also the product of systems. The way things are structured either encourages optimism or it guarantees pessimism. Why are people optimistic? Well, because, of course, they're hoping for a better future. But why are they thinking about the future at all? Now, put them in stark contrast to our leaders who, given their ages, don't have much of a future, chronologically. People are thinking about the future, making plans for the future, expecting something better in the future, protecting against the possibility of something worse in the future, but they are living ahead of themselves. They're thinking about a time when they won't be here. Why are they doing that? Because they have children. It's really simple, because they have children. Countries that place value on children, and not just like little kids running around playing, but generations that think in terms of what might exist after I'm gone, that are rooted in some sort of historical continuity. I came from here, my descendants will be here. People who think in those terms are by definition optimistic. But the first thing you notice about the people who run our country, and increasingly some of the people in positions of authority throughout the country, in positions of economic authority for sure, is that they have no time horizon. It's about the next quarter. They're day traders, basically. And there's a lot about the finance economy that encourages that kind of thinking from earnings report to earnings report, because it's thinking based on what a share price reflects. It's not to say that's insignificant. It is significant to some extent, but it's not the basis upon which you build a society, because it's too limited. It's too here and now. If enough people in positions of authority start to think like that, what do you get? Well, you get what you have now. You have looting.